Did the Vikings believe in trolls? And should you? Hi there, and welcome to the Old Forest Cave, as I like to call it. My name is Bjorn. I'm a historical novelist. I live here in Norway, and I'm going to talk about trolls. There's a new movie, actually, Troll 2. I saw the first one and I liked it, and I think it's great when movie makers, filmmakers, they use Nordic mythology when they make new movies. So I'm going to watch the second one as well. But I want to talk about trolls, and more specifically, how old is this belief in trolls? Did the Vikings believe in trolls? Were they afraid of trolls? Do we know anything at all about it? What's the origin of these beings, these trolls? So did the Vikings believe in trolls? The short answer is yes, but not in the more post-Christian perception of trolls, I should say. Now, the word troll comes from Proto-Germanic, and it means to tread on or to step on, to crush. So that kind of tells us a little bit about what that kind of being could do to you. But it's more nuanced than that. In pre-Christian times, trolls were not necessarily seen as these demonic, evil creatures. Now the word, it is interesting because we have that word in other forms as a verb in Norwegian, in the word trylle, which means, you know, a magician, a stage magician. That's what he or she will be doing. Trylle, tryllekunster, which is, you know, magic. So that tells us also a little bit about the fact that trolls had magic powers. They could cast spells. So there are different kinds of trolls, and different kinds of things that they can do to you if they want to. But it's important to understand that Christianity changed the perception of trolls. They would say in Norwegian fairy tales, "Jeg kan lukte kristen manns blod," which means I can smell the blood of a Christian man. And they will go there and smell, and if they find the Christian man, they will eat him. So and also trolls are seen in those folk tales, the fairy tales, as stupid. You can trick them, and they're just big brutes, and they're not good in any way, shape, or form. So that's that would be the post-Christian perception of trolls. My understanding of trolls is that in the Viking age, pre-Christian times, is that might have been a derogatory name used on those giants, if you will, that would do harm to you, and that maybe were, you know, using magic to harm you. Interestingly, if we go back to the Viking age, we have different kinds of these giants, and I find this very interesting and exciting, and this will be somewhat blended into the folklore that I grew up with, because we don't really know for certain how the Vikings perceived these giants. So I'll probably not get it completely right, but here goes. Okay, first of all, you have the Rise. That's like the biggest giant troll that you can imagine. It's like a mountain. Actually, they are usually asleep, and you can see them all around in the landscape here in Scandinavia as hillsides and mountains. So they lie down, they fall asleep, and they can sleep for hundreds of years. And trees grow on them. They're covered in moss and lichen, Hope I pronounced that right. But when they awake, you know, the whole hillside starts moving, and they stand up, and they're like hundreds, well, 200 meters tall and so on, you know. So that's the Rise. It's a sort of a primitive being, and as far as I know, the Rise will not have magic powers, but it's dangerous. It is the most dangerous of all these giants. Now, then we have the jotuns. I don't think the jotuns are trolls at all. If you look at, you know, Norse mythology, or the Norse belief system, if you will, they're just a different species. And the gods sometimes interbreed with them. Thor, you know, or the one with the hammer, his mother is a jotun. Jord, which means earth, or you know, the earth that we are standing on, right? So he's a half-breed, you could say. And many other jotuns are very essential in the Norse pantheon, the Norse belief system. You have also, for instance, Mime, who is the wisest of all creatures. And you have Surt. He will have a very significant role during Ragnarok, when he will raise his burning sword and set fire to the sky. And you have Ymir, which is the ice. He came out of the ice, you know. I imagine that he's like this ice giant, and he was killed by Odin and his brothers, and out of his carcass they made the earth and the heaven being the skull of Ymir. So yeah, those are the jotuns, and they are, you know, very fascinating, extremely fascinating. Now you also have, as I mentioned, trolls that are somewhat, not much, but somewhat, little bit mentioned in the texts, and they are seen as living far away, isolated from humanity. They don't like human beings, and they will use magic to harm you. You know, again, we're talking pre-Christian times now. And then you have another little fellow, the Tusse, which is a small troll, I would say. Again, other people might use different terms, but this is what I kind of grew up with, somewhat mixed in with Norse mythology. And the Tusse is smaller than humans, you know, and they live under the soil, under the moss, and they come out sometimes, and they can lure you, excuse my pronunciation, into their underground dwellings, and they will enslave you. Closely related to the Vettir, but they are not the same. Generally speaking, these creatures represent the chaotic forces of nature. Oh, a drop of water. It's raining. It's been raining for days. But yeah, they represent chaos, while the gods, they represent order. And I find that very interesting. It tells us a story about how people back then, being so dependent on nature, they understood that nature can be brutal, and nature can crush you, you know, all of a sudden. So it makes sense that people back then had a need to have this belief in creatures that represent those brutal, chaotic forces in nature. And it has been said that the reason we're not seeing trolls today, not seeing trolls so very often at least, is that Scandinavia was converted to Christianity, and it was the church bells, the sound of the church bells, that scared away all these horrible, evil trolls. But there's another story too, and that story is about Thor, and he scares the trolls, and he, you know, Thor, he's the protector of mankind, and he will always be out there fighting trolls and jotuns, and he's relentless. And when he hits the side of his wagon with his hammer, that creates a lightning, and trolls, they are very afraid, and jotuns also, very afraid of lightning. So maybe it was Thor who scared them away, not the church bells. We don't know. In any case, I am protected against the trolls today, because I have this, which is a troll cross. It will protect you. I don't know if you can see this. A troll cross here, yeah. So no trolls can harm me today, except the ones in the comment section. No, I don't care about those either. It's good to be out here and have a campfire. And by the way, if you want to support this channel, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. That would be awesome if you could do that. Do you believe in trolls? Have you seen a troll? Yeah. So it's like, I don't know exactly how my ancestors back in the Viking age, how they perceived this, you know, the trolls, and I really don't know, because it is, as with many other things, it changed a lot with Christianity, and trolls went from, well, I should say jotuns and all of these different kinds of giant beings, they went from being, you know, both good and bad, and they went from that to being these evil demonic creatures, unbaptized, hunting for humans, that Christian humans, to eat them, you know. But I think that there should be trolls in these woods, you know. There should be trolls. We need trolls, and I don't think that trolls are bad. I think that they are, you know, a part of nature, if they exist. We don't know. Have you seen a troll? If you haven't seen a troll, you don't know if they're out there. They could be. I actually think that these rocks, some of these rocks, they look like trolls. This one could be a troll, right? Hello. Hi. So it's kind of curled. The troll has curled itself into this shape, and it's dormant now. Who knows? And of course you have this idea from the fairy tales that the trolls, you know, if they stay out in the sun, they will turn into stone. I don't think so. I don't think so. But again, we don't know. This could be a troll as well. Maybe that one also. Hello. Thank you for watching, and thank you for spending some time up here with me on a rainy December day here in Norway. By the way, you will never see any AI here on my channel. You will only see real, authentic content here. That's a promise. And I upload videos every Saturday. So come back in a few days and you will find a brand new video here or you can check out one of the other videos that should pop up here on the end screen. Okay, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.